I don't think there's a gap because
doesn't think
we don't feel inferior to them. I think they have to, become more welcoming. They seem to be a little bit proud, and we don't understand where it's from.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Dr. Zain, and on this channel I react to videos that interest me. So if that sounds like the thing, please make sure you subscribe right now and give this video a big thumbs up, because I already know you're going to enjoy it. From the title of today's video, I'm sure you can tell, I'm going to be reacting to this video about what Nigerians think of African Americans. I released a video before, not long ago, where I reacted to a video on Club Shay and how they were talking about how Africans and African Americans usually butt heads and what the beef is about, whatever. And I expressed some things there, and I tried to explain the way we see African Americans and how because of the way they are portrayed in the media, and how that portrayal has become the vision or the picture lots of people have of them, even if that's not the reality, and how that influences the way Africans might treat African Americans, like how that might affect the energy between Africans and African Americans. That is what certain powers understand about human nature, and that is what they use the media for. Those powers, because they have the power to control the media, okay, and the media controls people's minds, whether people understand that fact or not. Again, I said several times there, and I'm saying it again, I don't believe that the way they are portrayed in the media is the way they actually are. Okay, I don't believe it. I do not believe it. I don't want to rant too much before we start the video, but I'm just kind of prepping you. I'm kind of referring to that other video that I did. Some people took it well, some people did not. Some people understood what I was trying to say, some people did not. But I'm trying to prep you for what you might see in this video. I haven't watched it. As you guys know, I don't like be watching videos before I share them with you guys, because I want us to watch it together. Most videos, I don't watch most videos. But I don't know what we're going to see here, but I'm trying to prep your mind for what you might see, and to help you understand why some people might say some things or what some people might say. If they are going to be honest, if they are, we'll see.
What's your name? Bibi Shegun.
Amira.
I'm Jeffrey. Kelvin. Chima. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Connect Slot TV, where we create entertainment videos about Africa and the world. In today's video, we'll be asking Africans, we'll be asking Nigerians what they think about African Americans. This video is inspired by Shannon Sharp's Club Shay featuring comedian Godfrey. We want to know your thoughts about African Americans in the comment section. Like, comment, subscribe, and share the video. Let's eat the streets of Nigeria. What do you think about African Americans? What can you say about them?
Well, African American, I think they're kind of a special breed, because for one, they cut across culture. That's the African culture and the American culture. So sometimes I think some of them sometimes kind of overdo the American thing, forgetting Africa is home actually.
Okay, before he completes that statement, I want to just say that this goes back to what I was telling you guys about in that other video, and maybe I already mentioned it here. I honestly cannot remember, but when he says some of them kind of overdo the American things, I think sometimes people cannot differentiate between the African Americans, like the Black Americans, because we call everybody Black Americans, we call all of them African Americans, but there are Black Americans that were taken there generations ago without their consent. They were taken there without giving them a choice, without being given a choice. They were taken there for certain reasons, okay? But there are some people who have emigrated there, and they've naturalized and they've become citizens of America, and we also refer to them as African Americans. And so when somebody like this says that some of them overdo the American thing, forgetting the African roots, I believe he's referring to the Black Americans who emigrated there, okay, and because some of them, to be honest, they be overdoing stuff, okay. In Yoruba, they have a word for them. They call them adekodere. I think it's a phrase. Adekodere, which means that somebody was in the village, he moved to the city, and all of a sudden he's become the most civilized person of everybody in the city. He's even more civilized than the people he met in the city, right? And it's not to say that, you know, Africa is a village and America is a city. It's not to say that at all, but it's an expression to indicate that when somebody believes that where they're coming from is inferior, and they decided to even leave because they felt they were in an inferior place, it's not as if they feel where they are coming from is inferior. It's because they look at themselves as inferior. And so when they go to a place where they think those people are superior to themselves, they emulate those people, and they get rid of, they try, because you can't really get rid of it, they try to get rid of anything connecting them to where they're coming from, and they try to just embody the culture and the behavior and everything about the place they've gone to. Okay, and that just shows their self-hate, and or I don't want to say self-hate, but it just shows that their mentality towards where they're coming from, more than it reflects judgments on where they're actually coming from, if that makes sense. So that's the meaning of Adekoderi, and I believe that's what he's referring to here. So it's not as if he's throwing shade at Black Americans, like the people who are actually Black Americans who have been there for generations. No, that's not what he's referring to. So I don't want people to come and say, oh, Nigerians have started. No.
You know, so, but generally, I think African Americans are a very cool set of people. You know, they're taking over. They're really doing well.
They're doing well. How can African Americans and Africans bridge the gap between them?
Okay, but as regards bridging the gap, I think the aspect that has to do with bridging the gap is a cultural thing. So I think the African Americans need to learn or know more about the African culture, how we do things over here, then look at how they can actually integrate that into their everyday American life, because that's the life they are exposed and more used to. But I think they need to know more about Africa and you know, the things that actually hold sway here.
I know they like rap. I know they dress well. I like most of their dresses. I modeled some of my dresses after theirs.
You're not the only one. Many people do.
Yeah, I know the slavery. There's a slavery. What's the word I'm looking for? Complex. You know, the Black Americans that Black Americans have. But I don't know. Maybe because I'm not a Black American, I don't have that. I don't see what the big deal is. You know, I feel like I can walk away from a racist comment and I won't feel hurt by it.
And he just told you exactly what I mentioned. You know, I said it in the other video. Please, if you haven't watched that video, go back and watch it. That why Africans hate African American video, or why don't they? He just said it, and I'm glad. Although at the beginning his sentence seemed a bit insensitive, but he corrected that, which is why I waited till he finished saying what he wanted to say. He corrected that by saying because he's not a Black American, so he doesn't understand. So I said in that video that A, we are not taught about slavery. B, those who are taught about slavery aren't taught the way they are supposed to be taught about slavery. And many times, if you don't really sit down and dig in and try to understand the history and what really happened and put yourself in that place, you won't understand what people went through. Okay, he's here. His ancestors weren't taken there, and they weren't made to slave away in fields, and all their dignity wasn't stripped from them, and they weren't broken down. And you know, we can talk about how the slavery ended, but did the slavery really end? So when you say people have slavery complex, like, first of all, I don't think it should be referred to as that. Maybe it's just a sensitivity to the way they were treated, the way they've been treated for like 2, 3, whatever generations, and the way they are still being treated now, even if the slavery ended. The way that community is being treated now, even if the slavery ended, did it really end? So maybe they are sensitive to it. I don't accept the statement about the slavery complex. And he's saying that anyone can make a racist comment to him and he'll walk away. It's true, because he hasn't experienced that. He wasn't in that shoes. So it's not as if he hates African Americans or he looks down on them. It's like he doesn't understand how they are, and he's admitting to it, and he's admitting the fact that he doesn't understand. Like, he can see himself clearly, like he doesn't understand because he hasn't been in their shoes. Okay, so it's not as if he's looking down, he's just saying, he's being open and he's being clear. Again, I know that the first statement might have been a bit insensitive, even though I was like, but you know, it's mostly ignorance, guys. It's mostly ignorance. Like I said, we weren't taught about slavery. I was never taught about slavery in school at all. And I know some of my friends who were in fact taught about slavery in primary school. Like, they were not only taught about slavery, they were also taught about African history and, you know, like Nigerian history, but also history in other African countries, right? I know friends like that, and yet I never did any history in primary school, and we all schooled in Nigeria together. So it depends on, I mean, the curriculum set by the ministry and all of that have certain things in place, yes, and there's the standardized test, and we know we are very educated in Nigeria. Please, we are very educated, but some things just passed through the cracks. Okay, and I think that also has to do with some powers that be in the world that decide that certain things should not be taught to children anymore, and some parts of the country or some parts of the world accept that quickly, and some other parts of the world or some other parts of the country do not accept that as quickly because they are more rebellious. Okay, so I anyway, let's not even go any further.
For the black Americans, they will feel hot. Yeah. When the white American says nigger, they go, oh man. I wonder what the whole thing is. Just a word, but yeah.
Can you see? It's not just a word. He said he wonders, which means he doesn't know. But it's not just a word because they know what it was associated with. You don't. It's not just a word. And some people use the N word. I don't believe anybody should be using the N word. I mean, black Americans, they use it amongst themselves. But, I mean, who am I to tell them how to use words? But just understanding the word and knowing, and like, I don't know if it's, like, words have a feeling to me. Like, I feel words. I don't know how I can express. Like, I don't just understand words, but I feel the sentiments or the emotions associated with certain words. Sometimes even before I deeply understand those words. So I just don't feel like that word should be used by anyone towards anyone. Again, who am I to tell the black Americans what word they can use among themselves? I don't understand why they use those words, but I do not agree with anyone using that word at all. Let alone, Africans using that word against them or using that word against them. So to him, it's just a word, again, because of the ignorance. And, who exactly are we to blame? Is it the Africans or the powers that be that are determining the way the kind of education people should be receiving?
I get it. I know Barack Obama was a black American, first black American president. Personally, I don't think there is a gap between
can you see?
On our side, on the African.
So you can see that he genuinely is just ignorant, but he's just innocently, can you say innocently or naively being ignorant of the situation? Like, it's not because of any bad blood or any bad feeling or because he looks down on people or because he hates people. Like, he genuinely just is lost when it comes to this issue. It's not because he hates.
That I don't think there's a gap because
doesn't think.
Yeah, we don't feel inferior to them. I think they have to, become more welcoming. They seem to be a little bit proud, and we don't understand where it's from.
That's why the interviewer is laughing, because the other video, and I've heard from some other people, they say it is the Africans that think they are inferior, and it is the Africans that are not welcoming. And now this person is innocently saying, I don't understand. We don't feel inferior to them, as if the black Americans see us as inferior, as if black Americans see Africans as inferior. Can you see? And I alluded to that in that video too. And that they need to be more welcoming, as if he has felt some sort of coldness from black Americans. Can you see? So the same way Africans are saying we don't hate African Americans are like, we don't hate blacks, but maybe they hate us. So it's all weird. And again,
well, yeah, that's just my personal opinion.
Wow, okay.
Yes. What do you think about African Americans? What do you think about them?
African Americans, I think they are pretty cool. I mean, they are Africans that went to America now.
Obviously.
I mean,
like maybe that.
I mean, can you see what I'm saying again? Can you guys see what I'm saying? You guys, you can see what I'm saying, right? Africans that went to America. Again, you have to differentiate between the Africans that went to America of their own volition and the Africans who were packed without being given a choice, in chains and without clothes, and taken there. Okay, you have to differentiate between them. But many people are just like, oh, Africans that went to America, full stop. No.
Descendant.
Yeah. They've been there for a while. I think they're pretty cool. They like a lot of African things, and they are cool. Yeah. I think they're cool.
Yeah, cool. Okay, what about you? What do you think about African Americans?
Like I've seen quite a number of them. I'm not seen, but maybe movies and they're depicted in a particular way.
What kind of way?
Their accent, you know them by their accent.
Okay, the accent definitely
Yes,
is
different from typical Americans. I don't know much about their origin or anything, but there are lots of them that are over there.
Can you see another person saying he doesn't know a lot about their origin? We weren't taught these things, guys. People aren't getting taught in school. The people who are not getting taught in the newer generations are going to be even more than the number of people who were not taught in my own generation, right? So that's just, I think it's a whole, there's a thing. Some people are behind this. I'm not one of those like conspiracy theorists or anything, but sometimes people do things, okay? And I'm saying this because I've heard from certain people about how in certain countries people are removing the slave trade from the education in schools. So if they are overtly doing that in those countries, then maybe they are covertly doing it here. Maybe, because why would people not be getting taught about something that was such a huge part of history, especially something that was the very depiction of oppression and injustice? Why would they not get taught about it? You can teach us about other things, but not those things. And now, we wouldn't even be able to appreciate like amazing figures in our history in Africa, like Jaja Ofokbobo, or like, I don't know, what's his name, Shaka the Zulu, right? Like, we wouldn't be able to appreciate amazing figures like that because you want to remove this thing from our education. And these figures, I wasn't even taught these figures. Like I said in the other video, these figures, I heard about them like from my older brother who actually was taught history in school, like from my parents, and they talked about many of these figures, but I was never given a textbook in school, or I was never told, okay, today we're going to discuss this person or that person. No, I had to read it in my brother's textbooks, right? So that's just the problem. People aren't getting taught, and they're genuinely
African Americans and Africans bridge the gap between them.
I think there has to be a lot of understanding, and so there's this thing of discrimination in America, maybe for African Americans or for Africans. But I think we're really working on it in our culture these days. People are talking about the fact that Black Lives Matter and all of that. So let's just keep it up. Let's keep up the unity and say that we're all one. We're just humans, irrespective of the color of our skin.
Okay, what about you? How can we bridge the gap between African Americans and Africans?
For the African Americans, a lot of them grew up in that society, and they include people in diaspora, people living over there. So they grew up in that society. It's going to be very difficult for them to relate to this society also.
The African society.
The African society, and because there's some...
Again here, I keep pausing because I want to help you translate. Again here, I believe he's talking about the Africans who went there of their own volition, or children or grandchildren of Africans who actually went there of their own volition, not the people generations ago who were packed and taken there. Okay, I believe that's what he's talking about.
Issues that are peculiar to Africans. There are some issues, so they won't be able to relate in that aspect. Well, most of them, I believe they see themselves, that's the African Americans, see themselves as part of the American society. So in this case, developed world. So it's going to be very difficult, in my opinion.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay.
I want to add to that.
Okay.
I think they can immerse in culture more. That's if you're trying to bridge the gap between African Americans and Africans, right? They can immerse in the culture the way they do. And what is culture? Food, music, our weddings.
Yeah,
they can keep it up, keep cooking their mala. I keep listening to
the African Afrobeat.
Exactly.
The piano.
Exactly.
Yes.
What do you think about African Americans? What can you say about them?
Okay. Well, my perception of African Americans, from what we see online and things we see in movies, I feel like they feel like they are superior to we Africans who reside there, who grew from Africa. Yeah, they feel like they are superior. They don't. most times don't want to associate. But I found out that recently, there has been a lot of noise going around Nigeria. A lot of people are wanting to visit Nigeria and stuff, and they are beginning to want to relate. If you look at our national team, you find like a number of whites, half Nigerian, trying to get into the team. So, well, basically, I think they are cool. They are cool people, but yeah.
African Americans are nice people. They are.
So in that case, I wasn't able to tell if he was talking about the African Americans who went there, like I keep saying, or the ones who were taken there generations ago. I can't tell which one he's, when he says they think they are superior to us, but I'm going to throw a guess here and say he's referring to the people who went there. Because remember I said before that sometimes they be doing too much, okay? They are decoded rating. Sometimes they be doing too much. I'm talking about the ones who went there, okay? Just because of that view they have of themselves. And that kind of mentality translates to the children they have. And maybe their, just their children, their grandchildren. It translates to them that where we're coming from is just not good. This is what we want you to be. And it doesn't only happen in African immigrants. It happens in immigrants from other parts of the world as well, as I've heard. So that is something that happens with them. But so yeah, I'm going to say that he's talking about the people who went there, not the Black Americans who were there, who were taken there without a choice. Okay. Just to
good to be with. Just that there are wrong narratives.
Like what? Like what?
Them being gangsters.
Gangsters.
And thieves,
And thieves.
Yeah. So, but I'm very sure that that's a very wrong narrative that has been spread around. Americans, they are very.
Before he continues, remember, I promise you that I had not watched this. I'm watching this video for the very first time. Okay. When I did that video, what did I say? What did I say? Because some of you did not understand and they were going to call me different things. What did I say? This is, and you remember why I said? I said that some people are aware of that fact and some people are not aware of it and just consume that content. And that at some point somebody had to call my attention to that. My brother, in fact, had to call my attention to that. And I realized that was actually happening. And that narrative is coloring the minds of lots of people. And so they see them that way and behave towards them like they decide to either stay away from them or to come closer to them based on the narrative they've consumed. In most cases, it's going to be to stay away from them because we like to see ourselves as cultured people, as educated people, which we are. And so we do not like to associate with people who we see as people who are not cultured or who are not educated or who are not good people, right? Again, it's a crime against these people. And we have to call it out for what it is. And so the people who are aware of that are calling it out. And they understand that it is not true. These Black Americans are not the gangsters. They are not the thieves. They are not the people who are just uncultured. No, it is what they show us. What the people who are in charge show us in the media and teach us to know about the Black Americans. Not what the Black Americans actually are. And that is what this man is saying. So this man is one of those people I was talking about as people who are aware of that fact and who are calling it out. You see? So it's like if you watch that video, you will know that what he's saying is literally almost like what I said in that video. It's literally like what I said. Okay.
Nice people, and when you see they are more like successful Black Americans, yeah. It's going to be a very difficult task to bridge that gap.
It is.
You think so?
Yeah, it's going to be.
Why do you feel so?
The gap is
I feel like they have to be in Africa to like have little experience about the African lifestyle before they can understand. Because even they themselves, they are told that Africa is poor, Africa is this, Africa is that. So like fake media is just so rampant.
What the media shows us about Africa and what they see about Africa.
Yeah. Exactly.
What do you think about African Americans? What can you say about them?
Whoever that guy is, shout out to him. Okay, shout out to him, whoever that guy is, because he just literally said he got to the meat of the matter, like he got the heart of it. This is what is happening. The people in charge of the media are feeding us with a narrative. The narrative is not true, but it colors our thinking. And that same media is feeding them a narrative about us. And so it's as if there are some people who are really creating the energy between Black Americans and Africans. I feel like there are some people there who are doing whatever they want, who are creating the narrative and who are pushing it on us. Pushing it on them, pushing it on us. Okay, it's like, think of a witch stirring a pot. She's throwing in whatever she wants to throw in there. I don't know why the witch is stirring pot, but that's just a picture that comes to mind. But let's
African Americans, from my own knowledge, migrants or people that have origins in Africa, that maybe by way of slavery or by way of death, they grew up in America and now are citizens there. And most of them, based on when their forefathers, migrated to America, have now become indigents of America. So African Americans are basically Americans who have their origin from Africa. Basically, African Americans, if you see them, they are very dynamic, both in perception, both in their doings, both in their clothing, in their speech, in short, their general outlook, their general way of life. They don't see things the same way a typical white man will see things. So, and that has also made, that has informed, what has informed that is as a result of their African traits. That is why most times when you see African Americans, the same way they behave, the same way we Africans behave.
That's not lie.
But the only thing is just that you see them, they grew there, all their life has been there, and everything that they do is there. Okay, so the basic thing is,
this guy is
if you know your origin.
I'm sorry, I know that sometimes people like to see somebody who might have roots from their place and then ascribe whatever is good about that person or that group of people to their roots. It's true, I won't lie, but in this case it's interesting to me that he did the very same thing, and I believe that too, that some of the things that they don't see things like Black Americans don't see things the way white people do, which as they should not. So much has happened, and he's like, those other like perceptions they have is because of the African roots. Again, I mean, I don't know, maybe I mean, we haven't done any research to show us whether it's actually true or not, but empirically, but yeah, I like that one. I won't lie, I like that one. And he was like, the way some of them do things, the way we do things here, that is not a lie. I cannot think of a particular example right now, but I just feel like that is not a lie at all. There are certain things that are very
gives you a different perception about you. We see a lot of people like Idris Elba. We see a lot of big celebrities who are African, who have African origin, coming back. Even Beyonce at the point had to, affiliate or, how will I put it now? Try to, have this relationship with Africans. So basically, once you start coming back home, your mindset changes. You know that there is actually no difference between you and a typical African.
Yes.
And the old way of people seeing things, that whenever you see Africa, what you are seeing is maybe Sahara village, people,
jungle,
you understand?
yes,
But it's not like that. It's not like that. So a lot of things are changing. A typical example is religion. They brought religion into Africa. But today, Africans are the ones championing religion. Africans are the ones setting the pace. Africans are the ones setting standards for them. They no longer have standards in religion. It is basically Africans that are now, if you look at most of these churches and the ministries and foundations, they all have their headquarters in Africa. Wow. Now going back to save Americans and other parts of Europe. Wow. You understand? So basically, Africa, the best way to bridge the gap is first of all understanding your relation, your background. Try to understand where are you coming from. Once you know this is where you are coming from, there's a way of tracing your pedigree. Once you are able to trace your pedigree, I can assure you that you will know that Africans, because of the fact that they are here, they are not separate, they are not distinct, they are not totally different from you, an African American. You understand? You all share the same trait. The only difference 100%. Is where did you grow?
100%.
Where did you grow?
100%.
Background. So guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section.
I just want to say that, shout out to that guy. He spoke a lot, but what he said was quite educated. It seemed very educated, like he was well informed, and I think that maybe he's one of those people who has actually, who was actually educated or who has educated himself about the issue, or who has thought about this issue. More likely that he has really thought, like he's had some deep thoughts about this issue from the way he was saying it, compared to some other people. Him and that other guy in black, like, shout out to them, because they really like they really, let me just say, they're awakened about the issue. I don't want to say woke, I don't like saying woke. They're awakened about this issue, okay? So shout out to them. They really, yeah. I think this is the end. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video till the very end with me. I know I interrupted a lot. Bear with me. I have to. And I think that, I hope that when you finish watching this video, you will understand that things aren't usually as they seem, and as, was it Madonna that said it? You only see what your eyes want to see, even if people feed you certain things. Thank you guys once again. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Be nice. And thank you guys so much for subscribing and liking my videos and watching. And if you have not subscribed, please do so right now. It's free and it only takes you 1 second, so that you do not miss any of my future uploads. And anyway, thank you again, and I will see you next time.